Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, make sure to smash the like button on this video. Guys, I got some news for you guys. Guys, I've been researching into, some of you saying that you're not getting notifications. Guys, what you guys have got to do, firstly, you've got to press the bell. I think I've said this, and you've got to press all. Also, you have to, on your mobile app, your iPhone or your Android or whatever you've got, you have to go on to settings and you have to go on to notifications and allow YouTube notifications. That will make sure that you get all your the notification whenever I put up a video or go through. I am going to contact YouTube as well and see what's going off, why my notifications aren't going through, why some of you are complaining about since June you're not been getting the notifications. I will get through this. I know the view count has, I think that's affected the view count this month, but don't worry. They say tough times don't last, tough people do. So don't worry, we will get over this phase and we will get through this. But yeah, just do that. Click the notification bell, press the all button so you don't get notified from our video. And then don't also go onto your phone and also allow the notification so you can get notified on your phone. You have to go onto your settings and notifications and allow the YouTube settings. You have to enable them in order to get the settings. So that's the research I've done. Okay, let's get into this video. Bob Arum. I told you about Bob Arum. Bob Arum said, Beterbiev, Bivol, we ain't doing a fight on DAZN. I told you guys, nobody watches it. Bob Arum, this is no good. This is disgusting, to be honest with you. But what did Bob Arum have to say? Okay, so again we'll see. I think that the time comes, even Eddie will have Bivol come over and fight Beterbiev and for a big audience. Yard and Beterbiev will fight in London. I talked this morning with Yard's promoter, Frank Warren, who will co-promote there, will be planning. Okay, so it says here, New York promoter Bob Arum apparently has no intention of loading Artur Beterbiev out to fight on different promoters' broadcasting platform, even if the undisputed distinction is at stake. I'll go through why this is loaded nonsense. That might be because Arum, the head of Top Rank, which promotes newly crowned 3-division titleist Beterbiev, has a very low opinion of DAZN, which again is nonsense, because I'm gonna tell you something in a minute. The subscription-based streaming service, which has long showcased Bivol, who owns a WBA £175 strap. Arum's Top Rank has exclusive television and streaming deal with ESPN, widely regarded as a behemoth in the sports broadcasting world. DAZN, by comparison, is thought to have a far more limited audience. Arum has repeatedly bashed DAZN and Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, one of the platform's key content providers, for supposedly middling viewership. DAZN, a private company, does not release subscriber numbers and seldom releases viewership numbers. Beterbiev, a native Russian who resides in Montreal, added the WBO belt to the IBF and WBC versions with a second-round demolition job of Joe Smith. Their 12-round light heavyweight unification bout, followed by the Bivol successful defense of the WBA strap, Canelo Alvarez in May. Talk of an undisputed matchup at 175 ramped up after Beterbiev's destruction on Saturday. But Bob Arum says on one thing with Beterbiev is that now that he is known to the public, so many people have seen him fight, we ain't doing a fight on DAZN which nobody watches. So Arum suggested the one way to make the undisputed fight would be to allow Bivol to fight on ESPN. So again, we'll see. So he's not saying that the fight can't happen. He's just saying that the fight ain't happening on DAZN. But here's where the hypocrisy lies with this. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me guys if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me in the comment section. Didn't Bob Arum allow Jose Ramirez to go and fight Maurice Hooker for a unified title on DAZN? If I'm not mistaken, he was actually there. He was actually there when the fight happened with Eddie Hearn. And now he's saying nobody watches it. So what's he saying? Why did he allow Jose Ramirez to go over and fight on DAZN? Didn't he think that DAZN is bigger now than it was then? So there'll be more viewership. You see, these guys and these promoters are very bad for boxing, because what they're doing is they want everything for themselves. So when it's the big fight, they ain't gonna be willing to let their guy Ramirez and Hooker wouldn't be a big fight on their platform. So they probably thought, nah, forget it. This is a big fight, or it could potentially do so. Bob Arum is being greedy. He wants it all on his platform. He's like, why should I allow him to go and fight in DAZN? So basically, Bob Arum is rejecting for Artur Beterbiev. The difference is Eddie Hearn and DAZN will probably allow Dmitry Bivol to go and fight on ESPN, because they're cool like that. Eddie Hearn isn't a clingy type of character. This is why I like Eddie Hearn. Don't get me wrong, Eddie Hearn's a great promoter, but sometimes I don't agree with some of the stuff that he says, he does. I don't always agree with Eddie Hearn. But that's what I like about Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn allows his fighters to be flexible. There's many times Eddie Hearn would want this fight on his platform, but Eddie Hearn's not greedy. Eddie Hearn looks at it from the fighter's interest. He thinks, if I can't deliver Dmitry Bivol the fight that he wants, right, and I can't deliver him, why should I hold up his career? Why should I not allow him to go and fight for an undisputed fight on ESPN where he can make a shed load of money and potentially become undisputed? Why should I hold up his career? Look, even with the Devin Haney situation, even though he had no leg to stand on with Haney, Eddie Hearn's cool, because Eddie Hearn knows that Devin Haney had to do that in order to progress his career. And the same with Dmitry Bivol. I guarantee, even if Eddie Hearn has a contract, Eddie Hearn will say, go fight. He'll allow him. That's how Eddie is. And that's what I like about Eddie, that Eddie's not looking to hold people's careers. Now, Beterbiev wants to fight Dmitry Bivol. If DAZN gets stubborn and they say, no, we're not allowing Dmitry Bivol to fight on ESPN because Bivol might have a contract, that fight ain't going to happen. That fight ain't going to happen because Bob Arum doesn't want to do a deal. Now, for me, the problem I have is that I know that DAZN and they would allow their guys to go and fight on their platform. Right? They would allow their fighters to go, even though it's not good for their interest for DAZN. But DAZN will allow, because what they'll look at is that Dmitry Bivol will probably come back. And Dmitry Bivol will be a bigger star. So DAZN at the minute, because they haven't got the platform of an ESPN or a Fox or Showtime, and these guys, they're building, they're increasing. And to be honest with you, Canelo Alvarez and Joshua is going to help grow their platform and help grow their audience. But Bob Arum can't keep bashing DAZN like that, because DAZN now have potentially two of the biggest stars in the world, or in world boxing, Canelo and Joshua. You can't keep bashing DAZN when they're making moves like that. That's a big move. To have someone like Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez, who are two of the commercially biggest stars in boxing. You know, if you look at their social media, those two guys are probably two of the biggest, most followed fighters in the world. And DAZN have both of them on their platform. So let's not make out like DAZN's not a player in world boxing. It is. And Bob Arum knows that. But for some reason, I don't know why Bob Arum has a look. You don't see Eddie Hearn bashing Fox, or you don't see Oscar De La Hoya bashing ESPN, I feel like these guys need to work together. This is a great platform. DAZN is a very good platform, just like ESPN is. Of course, they're a newer platform. They're a newer channels or a subscription or whatever they are. They're streaming service. So, of course, they're not going to have a platform like ESPN, who are massive, who have been doing it for a very long time. But they'll get there. But by signing guys like Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua is going to help their platform. You could say, who is Bob Arum promoting on ESPN that does bigger numbers than Canelo Alvarez? Nobody. So Bob Arum needs to understand that DAZN is a big player, and for you to just dismiss them and reject the fight and say it can't happen on because it's on, nobody watches on Dead Zone, whatever he's saying, that's just nonsense. Canelo fought Bivol on there. There was a lot of that fight did about 600,000 pay-per-views according to Eddie Hearn. And let's be honest, that fight wasn't even that big. You know, I know, but what's it called? Leonard was like saying, well, oh, well, Caleb Plant fight and Canelo did 700. Firstly, there was a lot of beef in that build-up. Secondly, it was an undisputed fight, so of course it's going to do bigger numbers than the Bivol fight, where there was nothing on the line. Bivol, nobody knew him, you know. So let's see what the rematch does. I guarantee you, the rematch does big numbers. So I have no problem. So basically, what Bob Arum is saying, that we're not going to allow Beterbiev to fight. Look, DAZN haven't said anything. DAZN haven't come out and said we're not going to allow Bivol to fight. DAZN aren't playing that game, but Bob Arum is just being bullish by saying that fight ain't happening if it's not happening on ESPN. That's basically what Bob Arum is saying. Artur Beterbiev is basically demanding that undisputed fight. He wants it. And Bob Arum even did that with Shakur Stevenson, and he basically said Shakur wanted to become undisputed, and he said, who cares about undisputed fights? You know, so basically Bob Arum feels like he's in control of the fighter. Eddie Hearn mentioned this, that Bob Arum, basically what Eddie Hearn is saying, that people like Bob Arum are old school. They're like dinosaurs. They can't come to the fact that they're actually working for the fighter. Eddie Hearn says, we've got a model where we're actually working for the fighter. The fighter is our boss. But he goes, people like Bob Arum find it difficult to come to terms with that. And this is why Eddie Hearn, because Eddie Hearn has that. Eddie Hearn's making good money. But the reason, that's why Eddie Hearn doesn't hold up fighters' careers. Because Eddie Hearn knows that he wants the best for the fighters. Because that way, when you have a good relationship with the fighters, right, you never see fighters leaving on bad terms with Eddie Hearn, or storming out on Hearn and having a go at him and doing cases on him and stuff like what Terence did with Bob. Because it feels like a lot of these guys have an approach where they feel they own the fighter, they make the decisions, they want to do what they want. And the problem is people like Bob Arum and the fighter bump heads. That's why if you look at Bob Arum, a lot of fighters leave him. And they don't always leave on good terms. They don't always leave on good terms. If I'm not mistaken, there was something with Pacquiao as well. You know, then with the Terence Crawford situation, you know, we know about Floyd Mayweather and Bob Arum, you know. So we know that a lot of these promoters, a lot of fighters don't leave on good terms. Whereas with Eddie Hearn, you don't really hear that, because Eddie Hearn, he's right when he says that the fighter is my boss. And basically he allows the fighter to do what they want to do. You know, like if Dmitry Bivol said to Eddie, I want to go and fight on ESPN and fight Beterbiev for the undisputed, I guarantee you Eddie won't hold him back. Eddie won't. Maybe DAZN might say, okay, we're not allowing it, but Eddie won't hold him back. I can tell you that much. Even if Eddie has a fight deal with him, he'd let him go. Eddie Hearn had a deal with Amir Khan where he wanted Amir Khan to fight Kell Brook in the UK. Amir Khan went and fought Terence Crawford. Eddie Hearn didn't hold him back and say, oh, you've got a contract with us, you need to fight Kell Brook. Even though Eddie Hearn was openly saying, I want him to fight Kell Brook. But Eddie Hearn didn't say, no, you'll have to fight him, because that's not the way Eddie Hearn operates. Eddie Hearn, like he says, the fighter is the boss. They tell us what they want to do. Even though Eddie Hearn wanted Amir Khan to fight Kell Brook. But Eddie Hearn wasn't forceful. He said what he needed to say. And then Khan wanted to fight Crawford, and he didn't get in his way. Because that's what Eddie Hearn is. Eddie Hearn's good like that. I'm not saying everything Eddie Hearn does is great, but Eddie Hearn is a very good promoter. And these type of things I like. Because Eddie Hearn doesn't hold a fighter's career. He lets them get on. Like, you won't see Eddie Hearn coming out with comments like this. You wouldn't see Eddie Hearn coming out. There's no way I'm not allowing him to go and fight on ESPN. Even if DAZN was a way bigger platform, he wouldn't say that. He wouldn't say that. Whereas Bob Arum has like, this is my product, this is my prop, you know. He just doesn't want to allow any of his fighters to go and fight on another platform, and it's not good, man. It's not good. Like people like Bob Arum, a great promoter, he's done a lot of great things in boxing, but you know, holding up fights like this are no good, because fans get frustrated when we see this. fans get angry because fans are like, no, these guys, they're just all about their money themselves, you know. But fair enough, I can understand he wants to, you know, he's been in the game so long, he's made so much money. This guy must be a multi, maybe a billionaire, who knows. But at the end of the day, you know, we as fans want to see the big fights. And when Bob Arum comes out with comments like this, it really angers us. Because it's not like Beterbiev and Bivol is going to do like 1 million pay-per-view buys, you know. I don't even know whether they'll put that on pay-per-view. Probably will. But, you know, it's not exactly going to do crazy amount of buys. It's not like that big a fight. It's a big fight to the hardcore boxing fans, but not in terms of to the casuals. Nobody knows. Bivol might have a bigger profile now because he beat Canelo, but really, even then, even by beating Canelo, it's not like Bivol has become a huge superstar after beating Canelo. He's still relatively unknown. So yeah, that's my take anyway. My take is, you know, we need to see this fight regardless of what platform. So even if the fight happens on ESPN, I don't care. I just want the fight to happen. But yeah, these comments are no good. I did say this to you ages, like in a video, that Bob Arum's not really interested in making this fight. And what I've said is kind of come out true. He's not interested. So yeah, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Let me know what you think. Bob Arum rejects Artur Beterbiev, sending Beterbiev over to DAZN. He calls it Dead Zone. What do you guys make of what Bob Arum had to say? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.